sticky notes. I myself have grown up with sticky notes my entire life, and even though they are a great way to remember things or a great way to jot down something really quick, it's just not ideal anymore. I feel like sticky notes are a huge waste of money, and it's just something you do not need in your home office or in your house in general. There are so many other ways to just write notes down really quick. You can write them on your computer screen. You can get a whiteboard and hook it up to your fridge or magnet to your fridge, and you can just write down things like that. Or you can write in the notes app on your phone. There's so many other ways to jot down something really quick instead of purchasing those little sticky notes. Overload supply of pens and pencils. I love to write, like I said, and I do have a pouch filled with pens and pencils, but that's it. It doesn't go beyond that pouch. I probably have around 10 pencils and 2 pens. That's it. Well, sometimes I have 1 pencil. My cat is obsessed with pencils, so they do go missing, but I always end up finding them. When I was a waitress back then, I remember a lot of people having a ton of pens and pencils every day instead of just sticking with that 1 pencil to jot down orders. I would stick with the same pen for months. I would always keep it in my bun and just jot things down. When I was done working, I would take that pen out or pencil and put it in my car, like the middle console, place it there. So the next morning when I drive to work, park my car, I can go into that middle console and just put it back in my hair. So there was no need for me to purchase an overload of pens and pencils back then or now. So if you are that kind of person that likes to write things down like me, it's best to just stick with a number, like 10 pencils or 10 pens. Stick with that number. Always have a designated pen and pencil for that 1 month. Don't go into your stash and use a bunch of different ones, because then you're gonna run out. Because I feel like when we have an abundancy of a certain item, we tend to overdo it. We'll go in there, write something down, put that pencil on the side, or bring it to the store with you, forget it in the shopping cart, come back home, use another pencil or pen, jot some more stuff down, leave it somewhere in the house, forget where you left it, and then so on and so forth. You keep digging into your stash, and that's what creates an unnecessary amount of pens and pencils in your house. So keep track of the pens and pencils you have, keep a certain number, so that way you're not overspending on these 2 items. Aesthetically pleasing desk and chair. I am guilty of this 100,000,000%. I always went for aesthetics when it came to my computer chair and my desk, and that was the wrong way to go. The reason why I say this is because the desk that I purchased, my white desk that I got from IKEA years ago, it was just too big for me, so I ended up getting rid of it. And the desk I have right now is just too small, and right now it's literally falling apart. I'm looking at it, and every time I'm on it, like, you can move it like this, and the whole thing wiggles back and forth. So it just wasn't the best purchase, and I just went with it because it looked cute. The same thing I did with the IKEA desk. It looks cute, very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It's just not durable. And also the computer chair. I'm sitting on it right now. I cannot sit on this computer chair for more than an hour without my lower back being on fire. So I should have did my research instead of looking for something cute again. It's just something that you do not need, you guys. You do not need aesthetically pleasing items all the time. You need items in your home office especially that are going to be durable and comfortable, because you're probably going to be working there for a couple hours. So I do still have the desk and the computer chair, and I'm dealing with it for now because I did spend, I think it was like $80 altogether I spent, and I don't want to spend any more money. But I will say that most of the times I have to put a pillow in back of this chair, and if it still hurts after that, I just go to my boyfriend's desk in the living room, because he has a real work desk and a real computer chair. So most of the times I'm working there instead of in here, which is a huge waste of my money and space in this bedroom, because again, I went towards the aesthetically pleasing route instead of the comfortable working space route. So if you are in the search of a new desk or a new chair, make sure you look at the specs. Make sure you can see how long you can sit in your computer chair, because I know most chairs in the specs part have like working hours. For mine, it says like 40 minutes. If I would have seen that in the beginning, then I would have never purchased it. But you live and you learn. So don't beat yourself up over it. Just, you know, learn from this mistake and just realize that aesthetically pleasing isn't always the best, especially when it comes to your office space. Random gadgets. It is nice to add a little touch of your style here and there. Just don't overdo it. So like random gadgets or random knickknacks is stuff that you don't really need for your work environment. Like I said, it's okay to have one or two, just don't overdo it. Duplicate items. So if you have two printers, because you didn't want to get rid of your old one and you want to keep it just in case, but you have a new printer that you use all the time, those are considered duplicate items. It's best to just get rid of the old one. Do not hoard items, especially when they are duplicates. If it's still working, someone can get use out of it instead of just collecting dust. Especially when it comes to tech products have a short lifespan. So if you have two printers or two laptops and you only use one and you keep the other one for a backup, but you never end up using the backup, just give it away, donate it to somebody that can actually get use out of it before it gets out of date, and then you really have to throw it out. Giant printers. Speaking of printers, now we have gotten better over time with having printers that are a decent size now. I went to Best Buy a couple months back and I seen a printer that was this size. I was like, that's pretty cool. Where were you back in the 90s or the early 2000s? I say giant printers also because we have one. My boyfriend has a giant printer that I barely can lift up myself. It's in the living room and it's pointless. That printer works, but it is definitely on its way out. And it was a fax machine. The fax machine part don't work anymore. It was a scanner that doesn't work anymore. So it's dying. It's dying slowly, but it's dying. And I've been thinking of getting him a smaller printer for the longest time. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. I see how big these printers are, especially the one we have. Takes up so much unnecessary space and there's just no need for it unless you need a printer that has a scanner, a fax, all of that stuff in one, and it is big. If you're getting use out of all that stuff, then sure, go for it. You definitely have to weigh out the pros and cons when it comes to that, but if you just use your printer to print, then get a smaller printer. Because I don't know, like, these giant ones are like, I dust that thing every day because it just kills me seeing all the dust cluttered onto it. And also the reason why my boyfriend has that giant printer was because it was free. He ended up getting it from a friend. I think it was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So yeah, it's old. It's actually from an office space that used to be like a bank area, and that bank went out of business, and they were getting rid of all the tech stuff. So my boyfriend was the lucky one to get a giant printer. I'm surprised that thing doesn't have wheels and we can drive it around the city. But all jokes aside, you guys, please do your research when it comes to giant printers and smaller printers. You can save yourself some space. If you just need something to print out really quick here and there, then get yourself a small printer. You guys do not always need to go for the biggest tech items because bigger doesn't always mean better. So just because it's a giant printer doesn't mean that it's gonna make your paper come to life. I'm sure a small printer will work just as fine. Anyways, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe down below, and I will catch you in the next one.